Cool guy. Cool guy. Wow. That was a cool guy, everyone. Cool guy. Good morning, everyone. It is a Sunday morning as I am filming this. I am going to go to work with my husband, which is why I'm wearing this amazing pumpkin shirt. Fashion, the epitome of it. My son used to love car rides and would fall asleep almost immediately. Hates them now because he wants to be crawling all the time. Hello? It is 6:30 in the morning and there's no one on the road, but the ones who are on the road, boy, dumb. Okay, so I made a video about this and I'm gonna try and do it again. And I didn't post anything last week because as I was editing the hi Casey. As I was editing the footage for it, I just didn't like the way I was presenting it because it was very much like a thought process that I was coming to in that moment. And so it wasn't very refined. And now that I've had a week or so to kind of stew on it, I want to say it a little bit better and a little bit just more refined. I was listening to a podcast that has a panel of essentially, men versus women. Generally, there's like two subsects of women where there's like conservative women and liberal women, and then all the men are basically conservative men. Maybe not even necessarily conservative men, but men who all kind of fall in the same vein of thinking. This whole gender war thing where it's like men are constantly schooling women on how stupid they've become and how they're whores and hoes and body counts are disgusting and whatever. And it made me think about the fact, why is it that men can sleep around and it's not as a big a deal as it is when women do it? And it's really like, growing up, I was told that if you're a girl and you are sleeping around, you're going to get called a slut and you're going to get called bad names and you're going to get all these things that men would never get. And it's true. Girls are looked at differently than men when they are promiscuous. And I used to think like, oh, that's so unfair. That's so ridiculous. Like when a girl does the same thing as a guy, she gets called different things. That's ridiculous. That's just not fair. It's not fair. And it's, when you're looking at the end result of two people doing the exact same thing and one gets treated differently than the other, that is seemingly the definition of unfair, correct? I get it. I really do. And like I said, I grew up believing that. I grew up believing that women should be able to play like the boys do and not have any repercussions if boys aren't going to have any repercussions. However, it has dawned upon my teeny tiny little peanut brain why it's different for women than men. And the fact that it's taken me 31 years to put this together shows that I haven't given it that much thought, that I was just passively participating in, the culture wave of feminism. Instead of going, why are women treated differently? It was just like, women are treated differently and that's shitty. That's it. I didn't think about why. And here's why, ladybugs. And here's why, gentlemen, feminist gentlemen who pretend that they don't have all of these feminist views because they're trying to get into girls' pants. We know what you're trying to do, okay? Okay, we know. It's so easy and it's so simple. Men don't get pregnant, okay? So men can dine and dash whenever they want because there's no physical responsibility that's going to happen to them other than STDs, obviously. Women get pregnant because that is what the act of sex is all about. That is it. Sure, it comes with some pleasure, and so society has told us that because sex is pleasurable, you should just do it whenever you want, when in reality, it is one of the most important things that you can do. It is, in my opinion, the most important thing that you can do with your body is procreate and continue the human species. Okay? So that's what sex is. Procreation. It is not a fun time activity that's meant to be spread around like butter on bread. It is a very specific act with a very specific purpose, and it happens to have physical an emotional pleasure attached to it. Pleasure. What a word. But I'm pulling up to my mother's house now to drop off my son. I'll get back to this in a little bit. So as I was saying, sex has a very specific role, a very specific purpose, and that is it. That is why it is different for males and females. Why if a girl is sleeping around doing her thing, that she is looked at differently than a man. Because our biology, we get pregnant. As females, we get pregnant. It is no small thing. It is the most important thing that we can do with our bodies. And at the forefront of that is having sex. When a man does it, he bears no physical responsibility. Whereas a female, obviously, bears the risk of getting pregnant, of doing the most important and biggest thing that she can do with her body. And she is throwing it around like it doesn't matter. And even though in today's society we have things like insane amounts of birth control and the morning after pill and abortions, just because we have those precautions and things to take care of it afterward, doesn't negate pregnancy, doesn't negate life, doesn't negate how important sex is, because you are creating life through that act. And so for someone, whether, let's say men were the ones who got pregnant, if men, were the ones who got pregnant and they were the ones going, who cares if I accidentally get pregnant and it's not my intention, I'm going to have sex anyway because I'm going to get 20 minutes of satisfaction from it. I don't care. I can get rid of it. That says something about you as a person, that you're willing to roll the dice with multiple partners that you don't care about. That you're willing to potentially get pregnant with someone and then have to either carry that pregnancy all on your own or try and build a life with a complete stranger, or do it all on your own. Let's say you do go through with the pregnancy and you did it from a one-night stand. That's a whole life change based off of a very whimsical, selfish thing that you wanted to do with your body, because you get a very temporary amount of pleasure and satisfaction from it, right? Now your whole life is turned upside down. Or you decide to terminate the pregnancy. That comes with a lot of emotional responsibility too. That's no small thing. I know in today's society, it's like, yeah, women get abortions and it's the easiest and most empowering thing that a woman can do with her body. Yay, abortions. Abortions are great. No, babes, no. I don't care what the government is telling you so that way you vote for them and keep them in power. They are lying to you. They are manipulating you. They just want your vote. That's the only thing they want. They don't actually give a rat's ass about abortion. They don't actually give a rat's ass about that baby in your womb. They don't actually give a rat's ass about you. They care about your vote. And they're going to say whatever they want to say to make you vote for them. That is it. They don't actually care. So let's stop pretending that any of that matters, but that's a side note. I'm sorry. You run the risk of getting pregnant every single time you have sex, and that says something about you. If you are having sex with someone that you don't care about because you have a backup plan of abortion, or that you just don't care and you have no plan, you are behaving irresponsibly. As women, we bear the responsibility of childbearing. And if you are out there having sex, you are behaving irresponsibly if you are not prepared to have a child. That is why having children out of wedlock originally has that negative stereotype or negative connotation, because that's the least ideal situation to be in. And so if you're behaving promiscuously and now you're pregnant, that's worst case scenario, because you are either in an entanglement that you care nothing about because you're only in it for the sexual gratification, or you don't know who the father is, or you're in a relationship that may not last forever. That is why there was a frowning upon women who were promiscuous. Not because it's just, fun and games to poke negativity at women for no reason. There are reasons for it. That child's life is now completely altered because you chose to have sex irresponsibly as the baby maker. That's all there is to it. It's not about just being mean to women because it's fun to be mean to women because that's what we do as a society, is just poke at women. No, as a woman, there's a ton of responsibility on our shoulders as the homemakers. I'm sorry to say that for people who believe that that's some sort of insult, but there's a ton of responsibility on males' shoulders to be the providers, because that's the way we're built, y'all. Men go out and hunt. Women stay home and take care of the babies. Men go out and work at the jobs, and women stay home and take care of the babies. That's the way things are meant to be. However, we live in such a privileged society that we don't have to subscribe to that. We do not have to subscribe to biology. We have choices. But that doesn't mean that the biology there doesn't exist or isn't still very, very important, right? We each have our roles to play. And in a privileged society, we can kind of bend those rules and play with them, and there's freedom and flexibility in being an American. That's fantastic, great, wonderful, but to an extent, you can't break biology. So at the end of the day, a woman being promiscuous, no matter what kind of first world society you're living in, is still different than a man who is being promiscuous, because a woman still runs the risk of getting pregnant every single time she has sex, unless you are infertile, obviously, unless you have something, unless you've tied your tubes, whatever your situation may be, that you have really taken the extreme precautions to not get get pregnant. I'm sorry. So, in those very rare situations where a woman is either infertile or she has tied her tubes, then, she can play like a boy all she wants. She's not running the risk of getting pregnant. Yeah, that's the difference, ladies and gentlemen. That is the difference, plain and simple. And I cannot believe, like I said, it took me 31 years to put that together, but I've never truly sat down and thought about it, which is a big part of what waking up for me is just questioning myself and every thought process that I have. Is it mine? Did I come up with this thought process, or did I just subscribe to it? And because I subscribe to that magazine, I subscribe to that newsletter, everything that newsletter produces, I just agreed with, because I wasn't actually thinking about it critically. These are the things that I want to present on my channel. And I don't think I'm going to continue with the Project Purple, trying to unite the red and the blue, because I'm just so unbelievably discouraged by that. I don't want to be discouraged. I don't want to give up on it, but I think I just need to change tactics. I think I'll do something stupid, cutesy pootsy, like waking up with Becca, because generally I have these thoughts at 7 in the morning, earlier than that. I'm generally filming these things bright and early. So I'll do something silly like that, like waking up with Becca, because not only are you waking up with Becca, the first thing you do when you watch my video in the morning, but you're also waking up your mind. So I don't know. It's all a work in progress. And I told you it would be. So don't be surprised. And if you are, well, then you're surprised. I don't know. Keep drinking your water. Keep taking your vitamins. Keep eating whole foods. Keep being sweet to each other. We all need to be more open-minded, and remember that even though, yes, I'm like focusing more on social, cultural things, I'm still very much politically driven, because the politics is what has driven me to comment on society and culture. Yeah, still very fired up about that, still very angry, still very concerned about World War III. Still just really, 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 really terrified at the state of our country and where it's heading. And I'm not caught up in the things that the liberal media is pushing, that, the country is heading in the wrong direction because, God forbid, Roe v. Wade got turned over, and now the decision lies in the hands of the people again. Oh no, that's horrible, because there are certain states that are very much against abortion. There are certain states that are not. Oh Lord in heaven, the people actually have the right to choose and vote for what they want. Oh no, that's horrible. No, I'm not. That's not my concern. I'm not a liberal in that sense of like jumping on every little thing that the government's doing and saying that the country's going to shit because liberals aren't getting their way. The country's going to shit because the government is getting their way. And the government has no place to get their way with the amount of things that they are doing. It's not their fucking business. It's not their place. And I'm sorry for cussing. Anyway. Ladies! It is different when we sleep around than when a man sleeps around. It is what it is. And maybe it's an ugly truth for you. Maybe it's an inconvenient truth. Maybe you don't like it, but it is the truth. It is not the same as a man who sleeps around. It is not the same. I love you. Chew on that. See what you think about it. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. I want to know. I don't want to be talking to myself. I want to talk to you guys, and I want to hear what you have to think, because unlike a lot of people, I actually want to grow and have my mind opened all the time. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.